Hey guys, so it has been some time since the last time we get a new event, and since there's no live stream, so I guess it felt incredibly boring for everyone. Like, we do not know when is the next event that we should be expecting, and the announcement has not been made. But I do think that the announcement it will be made one day before the next event. So if the event's on Tuesday, then the announcement will be on Monday. But so this is kind of random that I just create this video to talk about the status of the game. So you know, I have been doing a lot of runs. I've been pulling all the characters, so at least that kept me going, being interested in the game. But I do feel that it is really time for me to complain a little bit on how things are, because there's certain aspect of the game that I could not stand, and I hope that there will be improvement in the future. And we do know that in terms of revenue for DFFOO, it has been decreasing since the last 1 year. Like on the JP side, it is really bad. Like it dropped from, I don't know, it's just about 100 to 200,000 USD a month, and the main reason was due to having just 4 events, or at least I felt that was the reason. For GL, we are still lucky that we have 6 events a month, so at least that kept things interesting. But since the last 2 months, it has been quite boring. Fight has been really easy. There is no mechanics at all. You can easily use the same thing. You don't even have to pull for any new characters, so there is just so little motivation that keep people coming back. And they did not even include, like, usually there is a GL exclusive event, especially when there's some special banners that is being released, like let's say Laguna. During Laguna's event, if it's like few months back, there will be an exclusive event just for Laguna's event, and that has not been there anymore. And then Dare to Defy disappeared. During Dare to Defy, I think that is actually higher in revenue. Yeah, because people are feeling engaged, there's things to do, there are challenges to do. It felt better. So I just want to talk about the status on how the game is. Back then, actually when we talk about Shinryu, I actually like the mechanics of Shinryu, because it encourages team synergy, encourages us to do combo, and that there is like over 100, almost 200 units now in DFFOO, and that synergy really makes things interesting for me. Like, we have so many characters, they should be interact with each other very, very well and do something amazing. The problem is that fight has not been improving. It is not that Shinryu is boring. They have shown us that it can be really challenging. They can have HP gates. They can have a lot of mechanics as well. But apart from that, they have not been adding anything new. Yes, we do know that Shinryu is probably arriving in GL in early January. That makes things a little bit better, but not for long. Like in JP, the first event, Rufus, was actually fun, due to the restrictness of the fight that we have to use a range unit. But then several subsequent Shinryu, it is not as restrictive, and some you can just outright bury to keep the orb up, and when you can bury, which means you can use supercharging again, then everything becomes very easy again. And we just have Memorial 5 in JP, and that's supposed to be like the mid end, or like the mid, I don't know. Basically, it's supposed to be challenging, but it is not. There's Aiko OP character, there's Angel, and they just destroy, and you can even leader off that fight. I mean, at this point, they should at least put some effort into boss mechanic. You can just see Xcal can even put all the memes there when he's doing his boss guide infographic. That really indicates how bad boss fights are. I'm not sure if they do this, or actually I might think that that how they balance the fight is actually based on the fact that they are designing it for new players that do not have UW, players that do not have sufficient materials to pull and max out 3 green BT. Because I do beginner rank, and when I do beginner rank, honestly, I can tell you the fight is still quite challenging. Like if I'm fighting against Frog and I'm using characters that, let's say, I have very limited FR, only RCLR and BT, and there's no UW, I have to split my fight into 2 FR phase, and I have to keep RCLR's FR, because if I waste all of RCLR FR, I will not be able to cancel boss FR, and if their buff is up, then I'll be dealing 1 brave damage unless I dispel them. So that's actually things that I have to think about. And when I equip everything with like 3 characters with 5 UW, BT and everything, the fight just melts. And at this point, actually, if a beginner just joined the game, they actually have enough resource to pull multiple BT and max out multiple BTs. They do have enough resource to get 1 or 2 Ultima weapon max out. So in that case, they don't, or they should not design fight based on no UW, no BT. That is really bad, because a lot of player right now that is still playing DFFOO and is actually spending money on DFFOO are actually veterans player who almost have anything that they want, everything that they want in order to beat any fights. So they just can't, design the fight based on these beginners anymore, because it's not going to give any motivation or reason for these veterans to keep playing. They need to really design the fight so that at least we have to complete the fight like somewhere between 2 FR phase, because now we even have HP damage bonus retained, and that even makes things easier. So they really need to do that. HP gate, one of the mechanics that they introduced, was actually a very good reason. And in Shinryu they do not have HP gate, but they actually have somewhat like a HP gate as well, because at a certain point threshold, the boss will gain the 100% HP healing based on 100% of HP received, unless you do some condition. So that is actually pretty fun, but those condition is not like, initially it was a bit hard, then again 1 month down, 2 months down, and now you can just continue attacking. Like Aiko's stage, you need to do holy damage, and she's doing holy damage, so without noticing, you just dispel that condition. Alright, so it makes things really easy. I do not know why there's always this wave of they make it a little bit hard, then everything become easy for several months, then they just introduce 1 or 2 hard stages, and it becomes easy again. At least I would say just give us 2 difficult fight every month. You don't have to cluster all the difficult fight in 1 single month. Just make like 1 or 2 difficult fight in a month, and you can have a slightly easier one like for the next 4 events. Another thing is that they lock resources, like important resources like BT resources or ingots in the Shinryu fight, which I think that is incredibly bad for the game as well. And they has been doing since Lufinia. Like back in Cosmos or Chaos, I can't remember, but if you defeat the hardest content, all we get is tickets and gem. And a lot of the EX material, they are not locked in the hardest difficulty, because players need that resource to upgrade themselves in order to defeat the hardest content. But now if you lock those resources in the hardest content, so if they can't win the hardest content, they cannot get that resource, and they are not going to progress. So that becomes rather frustrating for player who just cannot deal with Shinryu from the start. So yeah, if they do Shinryu or any upgrade of difficulty, they cannot lock the most important resource at the end. And you know, people might say, yeah, in that case they can just skip the event, but the fact is that we play this game to fight the boss. Even if you don't lock the resources at the hardest boss fight, we will still fight that. Okay, so I really hope that they do adjust the fight, and I do hope, since now that like in GL we are getting 6 events, please reduce the grinding. There's just too much grinding to do, and they really need to reduce that. Give us better fights and reduce that. All right, so that is the end. Yeah, 10-minute fights, 10-minute rant. I really hope they do something, and the next announcement they will tell us that the next month will have a lot of event. I hope something like Dare 35 will come back, and then we can all have fun together. All right, so thank you for watching this video and have a good day.